Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I would like to welcome my viewers and listeners to my YouTube channel, Mountain Darwesh. This is my first vlog in English, and the objective is to have as much audience reach and spread to my vlogs so that people can also enjoy my experiences of trekking high altitude in the mountains. So we had reached Ascole in the morning, and we decided to start our trek immediately on arrival to save time and our energies. And what we did was that we prepared ourselves, all trekking gear and clothing was put on, and all foods and things were distributed, and our porters weighed also the luggage because the payment has to be done according to the weight. But we had an agreement with them that they will carry all the luggage with us, even if it is of some excess to their requirements. Normally, 25 kgs is permissible or their requirement that each porter will carry. So we started our trek. For me, it was a total change from Fairy Meadows, in which I was the team leader. In this case, I was the most inexperienced and a new person on this type of trek. We started off, I was not sure what sort of my body is going to behave in an environment which had started at plus 3,000 meters. So the trek from Escole took us through green fields, uh, pavements, very, very beautiful fields, greenery to our right, and the Braldo River going away from them. And we started the trek on a very positive note. And the objective was that we are going to stop over at a campsite named Corophon. So Corophon is basically a track of hilly nature, very gentle slopes, but of course with the stony and sand structured soil and roots. But it took us from across this Baraldo River, which has a rope bridge, and rope bridge is really very scary. That below it is you have to cross a wooden planked wire roped bridge, suspension bridge, and below is the very ferocious waters of Baraldo River. So we crossed this bridge, and actually I had told you that we started around about 11 o'clock in the morning, and with a trekking of about 3.5 to 4 hours, we came to a campsite which is on a very vast ground in which the waters, the streams, small streams of the Biafo glaciers pass through. It's a green campsite named Corophon. We stopped there, and for the night we had to stop there because the other distances were quite far off. The nearest was Jola campsite, which is 6 to 8 hours from Corophon. So we stayed overnight in Corophon, and the next morning our work day started at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and by 6:30 we were camped out and on the track. So we were carrying some water bottles. Each member had one water bottle with saline solution in it to recuperate the water level lost because of very sunny and relatively hot afternoon and mid afternoon, and we were going on our own, and the track suddenly changed into a high gradient, stony structured cliffs and mountainous ways. And we kept on moving in that, and I was carrying about 21, 22 kgs of weight, the whole rucksack weight was on me, and I started to develop a slight pain on my left knee, which I thought that maybe it's a small sprain, but it kept on increasing as I kept on walking. And I informed my team members that this is what is happening, and they said that okay. Uh, I took a painkiller to so-called reduce the level of injury, and I kept on walking until we were passing through a very treacherous track in which the river is just below you at about 3 4 feet, and you are passing through a stony cliff structured track in which you have to be very careful because it's a one-way track. Below is the river going at full speed. But we managed it, and kept on going. The Braldo Valley becomes very wide at this end, and it keeps on getting wider and wider. And river is very ferocious, though it is flowing at some distance from us. At some time, it is we are you are just going above it. At some time, it's just passing just to your right. So when we kept on going, we reached Jola. Jola is a campsite in from where the waters of the glaciers and mountains parallel to this Concordia track are coming. So there are different passes also. And this water was very, very fast or ferocious and very, very big sound. So we crossed this river again, bridge again. This was a wooden plank bridge, and it was a very scary thing. Normally, you don't see down when you are crossing such type of bridges because you get sometime nausea and you can get some something which can you can get unconscious also. But we knew about it, and we didn't see downwards and looked straight and crossed this thing. After Jola, we had a lunch in Jola, and normally lunch is cooked by the porters, and this is we give them some of our tins of food. They'll heat them up, and we use very small plates and glasses, and they make some bread also for themselves. So we had a light lunch, but my appetite started to go down because I was not feeling very hungry because of the heights. But I, on my own, forced myself to have something of food. And if food was not being taken, I was taking biscuits and some dates and something definitely in the form of energy has to be taken so that you are undertaking a very difficult, strenuous physical activity. But we kept on going, and the sun rose up, the day became very hot, and in very hot conditions, we reached the next campsite, which was, let's say, 7 to 8 hours from Corofon. So we camped there at Bardomal in very hot conditions, but Bardomal has small green vegetation, and it's not a very pleasing campsite. But again, you have to do it because this was the part of our challenge. We were going towards Concordia. So this part of the journey was very dry, and heat was being also encountered, though the height was around about 3,200-meter plus. So in the morning from Bardumal, the most important part of the journey was to reach the campsite Payo, which was undertaken by us. As usual, you start early morning and keep going, and the terrain was more or less the same. You go into the very plain, flat ground, then you climb certain hilly cliffs, then you come across some stony rock formation, then you also cross. At this stage, we encountered some hill torrents from the mountains, And they were, in my opinion, 4 to 5 of them. They are very tricky and very risky because you have to find a way of your own. And the guide was very helpful. We also had 1 or 2 persons as standbys to help out someone who gets into trouble, because the water is very, very, very fast in currents, and there is no defense if you slip. So we were able to cross all of them, and when we crossed all of them, we started to see the coiled dragon of Baltoro Glacier before going to Payo. And at this point, the valley had reached its maximum width, because from there onwards, after Payo, you start the trek on the glacier. At this point, when we came to reach the campsite around about 6:30 in the evening, it took us more time because of my injury to complete this trek. But I was taking painkillers, Brufen always, and I took normally a precautionary measure of taking it between 6 to 8 hours so that I don't take an overdose. Once reaching Payo, I found out how many people other than us are over there. Are there any Pakistani groups or to whom we can communicate? Or we found out that all are foreigners. From reporters, I inquired that please find out if there is a doctor in one of the trekking teams. So I was very lucky to have a free consultation from a orthopedic surgeon of British origin. Looked at my knee and said, "There's nothing wrong except you have sprained your kneecap muscle. So there is no remedy, only rest is the remedy." So what he could do, I was very happy, and he graciously did was he did a crepe bandage on my left knee, which I was carrying through my first aid box, thanks to our company, Dr. Saab. And it gave me some relief, but not cure. But I decided and told my team members that I'll continue, I'll not go back. So that is the decision, major decisions I took out of my life on this track. So this is the my story ends of our trek through the Braldo Valley. And from the Braldo Valley, now we would be transferring ourselves into the mighty Baltoro Glacier and take about 3 days, 4 days. I'll tell you exactly how many days when the story carries on we took. And the most difficult part, ladies and gentlemen, starts from Payo, because then when you are on the glacier, it has its challenges and it has its own mechanics, survivability, and adventure too. With this, I thank you all for your attention to my narration, and I request you to please press the icon of subscribing to my channel and like it if you like it, and give suggestions so that I may learn from your guidance. Thank you very much. God bless you all.